Greetings, guys. Welcome to the brand new episode of Redemption of the Rotten. I'm your host, MrYazMan300, and join me again is the one and only Andy. How you doing, Andy Mac?
Hello there.
Yeah.
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. And also, I missed you, even though you're your friend behind you also.
Well, I'm surrounded by him today, so we
Yeah.
meant multiple villains.
And finally, we're back once again after an amazing episode talking about Massive the Universe. Kai, how you doing, Kai?
I am the Kai. Yeah, I feel fine.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
For a moment, you start sounding like a character from He-Man.
Yeah.
So how you guys doing today? Because I know it's been a while since we did an episode with you, Andy.
Well, I mean, yeah, ish is the thing, but Masters of the Universe, why would you voluntarily watch that? That's awful. Like,
I mean,
this is definitely one of the better movies we've watched for these, so that's credit there. At least I don't get the worst of the
Jersey
worst.
Girl?
Okay, yeah.
Say it's better than Jersey Girl just to piss off Mark.
Yeah, frankly, to piss off Mark. Yeah, most things are better than any Kevin Smith movie. This is just better. This is this is bad good. Jersey Girl is just like this is the mark.
Yeah, this is like they keep some cheesy stuff, and also they had some. I mean, some of the production in this film we're about to talk to has better stuff.
Like PS2 game at times.
Yeah. No, because we're gonna talk about because I don't know if you guys saw that my Mortal Kombat review with David Gelt. So we spent like about 2 hours, but most of the time it's us venting on how bad like the 2021 movie was and how it missed. Like the 1995 movie knew exactly what they were doing, while the most recent one basically sucked doing everything.
Yeah, it takes itself way too seriously. Like at least this and other movies have fun with it. Like yeah, this is dumb. Let's just be dumb because then it's fun.
Yeah. So how about you, Kai? Because you know we spoke recently. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Nothing really interesting happening right now at the moment. I'm starting writing a little bit more on the Dungeons and Dragons part that I'm doing sometimes. I have this crazy idea of writing German fantasy lore and just like the things that town people are talking amongst each other and putting them in a 5e setting, D&D 5e setting. So this is right now one of my hobbies that I'm trying to do right now. But overall, not really much. I did watch The Gray Man this week on Netflix. And
before we start talking, Kai, can you speak in because I think your audio and the lips there are not matching. Andy, is it just you also?
He fuzzled out a little bit there. That's normal now, I think.
Can you talk now?
Okay.
Oh, now I think it's okay. Maybe because it was a little bit buffering for me. So also the audio is fine because the audio is most important because for this video.
No one wants to see our faces. We're all ugly fuckers.
Hey, David actually, I don't know if you saw the Mortal Kombat. He didn't have the camera on. It was just his
little logo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also Kai, before we talk about Greyman, I noticed if I'm not mistaken, the back is that Optimus the Lego? Yeah, it's nice so cool. One. Because I'm also seeing the Horizon one.
It is.
Did you
and also there's the NES one and there's London.
Cool. Because I'm actually I pre-ordered. I don't know if I told you guys. I pre-ordered the limited run edition of TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Then I have to wait. I think maybe 6 months for it to come. And the pre-orders for the She-Hulk, Hasbro Marvel Legends is already up. So this one I'm also going to get it.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
I do have one slight question for Kai, and he's going to hate me for this question. In your D&D thing, what do you do with the bad guys? Do you put them somewhere separately? Do you put them in like a camp? And
what do you mean by
that was an awful German joke. That was just...
Oh.
Is that the Nazi
really
joke?
Get that, but
yes, that was a Nazi joke. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. When you said it was the first place my mind went to. Just
I didn't understand the moment you said the German joke. I understood it.
I have to say that I'm sending my my crew right now to literally hell, but that's a whole different kind of thing. And spoiler for my campaign.
And I'm sure that's for good reasons.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about you? And did you got any new Lego stuff besides the ones I'm seeing behind you?
So no, I've started getting the diorama ones. So I've got the Dagobah one. That's in a different room. I've got the sorry, go.
It's the Star Wars dioramas that came out 2 or 3 months ago. Okay.
Yeah, I've got the whatchamacallit, the Death Star trench run. I haven't built that one yet. And then I need to get the trash compactor, but it's like 80 quid. So I'm like, we get some points off at work thing. So once I got enough points, I can spend the points on that, so I get it for free.
Does the trash compactor come with the couch from Family Guy?
Oh, it doesn't, but that'd be a great mod. I could definitely make that. That's a genius idea. I'm so doing that. Thank you.
I think if Lego would be willing to do a diorama of a Superstar Destroyer crashing into the Death Star, that would be my thing.
I mean, that would have to be fucking giant.
No, I mean, yeah, you don't really have like the main like 10,000 pieces of thing. Just like the diorama style would fit there nicely.
I was actually interested in buying the Mandalorian ship, but then when Andy showed it to me, I was like, man, it's a little bit too big, and I don't have, like, if you see in my house, I don't have a location for it.
Yeah, it's top shelf now. I've moved things around.
Yeah.
I think it's about this size, right?
Yeah. It's a lot bigger than you think it's going to be.
Because I remember I saw the box, and then you showed to me, it's like, it's too big for me for my room. Maybe one day I might have some place to store it.
It would probably fit on one of the shelves behind you, but it would take a whole shelf from the looks of it.
This one right there, if you can see, that's actually the bird from Bioshock Infinite. And right here, I have some part of manga collection from Tokyo Ghoul and One Punch Man. This is, I think I bought, like, it's not actually original. It's just a photo from Avengers Age of Ultron. And down here below it, I have like a bookshelf with, let me check. Oh yes, Preacher Volume 2, Frank Miller first collection of Daredevil. And Kingdom Come and a novel called Throne of Glass. You might guys have heard of it. And here is actually my Blu-ray video game collection. I mean, there's more stuff, but I placed them somewhere inside cabinet because there's no location for it. And I know people are gonna focus. I just ignore this. I know this is not straight. Just leave it alone. Because I know people was like, "Why isn't there straight?" They'll say.
I didn't notice that until you pointed it out. Yeah, that does annoy me. That's just
1 second.
Okay.
Yes. I take this as a win. But for audio listeners, Yaz is also wearing bright blue flip-flops, it looks like. We watch as he slides another disc into there to straighten them up. He pushes aside. Oh, the shelf is very wobbly.
Oh, this is wobbly.
That's not the most secure thing in the world.
Here, I fix it. Well, at least people got to see my ass now. Any question?
We commented on everything else we didn't say about the ass.
That will be a fan favorite episode. That will be a fan favorite episode.
We got to clip that shit out now.
I mean, technically, you could say that the DVD rack was twerking, but
hey!
In case you guys are wondering, here actually are my PS4 and PS5 games. The DVDs. I have one of them is actually Dredd 3D. Here right here DVD and Blu-ray, and that is some other PS4, PS5 games.
What? See, now I'm annoyed about the order they're in. Why are they not?
I'm not gonna spend the whole day fixing it.
God above.
Because DVDs are bigger here because the PS5 I play a lot. Here I was like sometimes casual. My family want to buy some games. I kept them downstairs.
Oh, okay, so they're in like use order or ease of. Yeah. Still annoying.
DVD and Blu-ray because of which one of them is the bigger one. I always keep the Blu-ray first because they're bigger.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. It's a good thing. You know what we find is that every episode is me like going back to fix my Blu-ray shelf. So next week next week I have Joe for what's that movie, the one with space with Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne.
Event Horizon?
Yes. That's actually a tease for the next episode.
I didn't know that was a rotten movie.
Yeah, it's actually now a cult movie. It's like they had some behind the scenes stories and stuff. In case you're interested, Joe's doing it next week. All right. So, I think
Come on, guys, let's like and subscribe to Yaz's channel so he can buy a new shelf for his Blu-rays.
No, you know what? Since you mentioned it, instead of buying a shelf, go in and subscribe to my channel. If you want to, so subscribe to that. Antti, Joe, and I, and other people can review that Turkish fine cinema, The Adventures of Acela.
No one has ever said Turkish fine cinema in the history of the world when not referring to pornography. So that's impressive.
Wait! You haven't seen Turkish Rambo?
Or Turkish Star Wars. It's basically a guy in a room, behind him is green screen or shots from the Star Wars. That's what they did. Or Turkish Spider-Man, where he basically kidnaps a guy, puts a hole in his face, and then he shoots the rats, and then the rats kills the guy. That's
what the fuck?
Yeah. Turkish do lots of crazy stuff.
Just rip off. You're going to the wrong side of the internet, and that's saying a lot.
I mean, if I wanted to create content for my channel, I have to go to that side of the internet. I mean, yesterday I found a movie. I don't know if Mark is gonna allow me to say it on his Zoom call, but I found out a movie called PMS Cup.
Can I put my name down for being on that one, please? Just because the title alone is interesting.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll see if I can convince Mark to be in, since I told him you'll be in. You know what? I'll tell him that you picked this movie just to trick Mark to watch this movie.
I mean, Mark wants to say, he's gone through the change, so he no longer has that problem.
Man, I think I might get cancelled if you did that movie review.
So 4. Oh my god, what is this?
I think a woman.
The poster alone is horrific.
I think there's also a director's cut, if I'm not mistaken.
They weren't very clever with the tagline. It's her time of the month. Come on, that's just lazy.
And if I'm not mistaken, the movie is actually about a cop who I think she has lots of anger issues. She gets sent to like drug rehabilitation as a punishment. She gets given a drug, and side effect she turns into like a serial killer, like Jason Voorhees, etc. Like these guys.
A police officer is forced to take an experimental drug to inhibit PMS symptoms, causing her to develop superhuman strength. She begins to systematically take vengeance on everyone in her path. She fights the urge to destroy everything.
So it's basically like a reverse She-Hulk at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
God.
And she just turned red.
Yeah. Even the beginning of the movie is like some stuff. Okay, now who the hell greenlit this film? I don't know if Andy is laughing or he's crying when he covered his face.
It's a little bit of both, if I'm honest. It's tears of laughter. Let's be honest. It's just.
Yeah. All right. I think we should start beginning because I know Andy is he's busy and I want to finish the episode. So today,
I'm fine to talk about shit films, so just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, at least Nathan Fillion is enjoying. Nathan, your boy Nathan behind you is enjoying it. Even though
he is. I need to get.
It looks like he's getting tanned.
There we go. You carry on. I'll fix it.
Okay. So this week, I think it's this week where Stallone's new movies come out, The Samaritan.
It did. Did it come out?
I think it's about to come out, and I think we just witnessed a murder right now because Andy dropped Nathan. Now he's turned to fix something.
It's fine. I'll make it up to him later.
Yeah.
Just don't tell anybody.
It sounds wrong.
I'm pretty sure Mark now has some material to roast you right now. Hey, at least we got to roast them, I think, in the beginning of the episode with Jessica.
Yes.
And fun fact, since we're talking about Jessica, it's the third most viewed episode now on the channel. Do you know what's number 2?
Is it Street Fighter?
No.
No.
You got close when you said Street Fighter.
Mortal Kombat?
Mortal
Yes.
Kombat.
Yes, that's the second most viewed.
What?
Damn.
It's very popular and people love the original movie.
And for some reason, Man of Steel is like way number one.
That's the Snyder Pass. I'm pretty sure 70% of the Snyder Pass are watching the video.
I was gonna say, what do you mean for some reason? We all know the reason.
The only question that I'm having, are like most of the viewers like bots or something else? That's going to be a very interesting question to have a look at in the statistics.
I mean, I think maybe it's because my first video, maybe because they're promoting it. Because I kept it, remember, in my feature stand, the web, when you go to my YouTube, that's the first thing you see. Maybe that's why it was getting most viewed also.
Yeah,
probably a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
could be.
My favorite part is mostly reading the comments of the YouTube channel with Joe on the Zoom call. He read your comment for Street Fighter, did you list for Andy? Kai.
Oh, sorry.
Alright. So we were saying Stallone Serpent this week. I think it's Friday, remember it's Thursday, but I think it's this week he's releasing this new movie Samaritan. So
yeah, next week, 26th of August is going to
watch the trailer. It looked awful. Just a terrible movie.
It's coming on Amazon because it's supposed to come out theatrically, but then Amazon's like, yeah, release it theatrically because they bought MGM. That's why. And yeah, because if you go, I don't know if you guys have it right now because when I go to Prime Video, all the James Bond movies are there.
Yeah, they're here as well. Yeah.
What?
Yes, all of them. Go check right now. I don't know if they're available. So
there's only like
right now.
There's only like 10 good ones.
And Brosnan has one good one. His second one is the guy who made. Was it Tomorrow Never Dies? The guy who made Stop for My Mom or Shoot. We're talking about Stallone. He did it. He did Tomorrow Never Dies. I think. I don't know, maybe 5 or 7 years after Stop on My Mom Will Shoot.
Good name for a film.
All of the Lord of the Ring movies are there.
The normal or extended?
Oh, that's right, because and now Embracer now owns all the
IP
for
one.
Lord of the Ring.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a very weird choice.
They're already very long, the movies.
Hey, can always be longer. That's what I've always been told.
Yeah. I'm only saying the TV show for me. This country is different.
Yeah,
so
the
Kai,
Bond
you have the
movies
Bond film in Germany,
on...
right? With Prime Germany?
Nope. You can lend them for money.
That's normally how this works.
Yeah, at least for us, it's for Prime Video for free. We can stream it on Twitch, right?
I think you get taken down, but yes.
Wait, you can't watch them on watch parties?
I don't think so. I think you have to take the video down immediately, don't you?
No, you don't do, as long as you don't show the clip. Because it's separate. Another screen pops in of the video you're watching.
See, this is why I know nothing about technology.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
It's basically your camera, what you're showing, as long as you're not showing the video of it.
Oh, fair enough. That's very cool.
I'm way too small as a Twitch streamer to have this
because I did it multiple times. Because I did it for the 3 Matt Damon Bourne films, and what else did I did for? I think that was it. But I did some other movies because when I was trying to do some Twitch channel, but nobody was watching my channel. I was like, man, I'm gonna stop doing it. I mean, because you tried and you was like, man, why aren't you streaming? It's like I did, but nobody's watching. What should I do? At least, Andy, you got some people watching you hang out with.
I mean, when I stream once a month, I'm awful at this.
Are you an affiliate?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't become an affiliate. Because I know people, mostly they became quickly, I did not.
Yeah. It's normally that watch time that's the pain in the ass. If you're doing watch parties, it's a bit of a
the
pain in
people
the
are
ass.
watching, that's the problem. Because I got the streaming days, I think the followers, and what else?
You need an average number of participants.
This one. This is the average.
Yeah, the average is the pain in the ass. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I got too close. One time I got 2.7 / I think something like close. I was like, okay, can we get more? I could not. I was like, screw this ass.
I'm stuck with 0.7.
Yeah.
I finally followed you and got notifications on, so I'll just leave you on in the background now next time you're streaming at work, or just leave Kai and just. But fair, there's a fun segue about the Amazon thing. We were chatting just before you joined, Yaz, about how we watched this movie. For some reason in Germany you can't rent this movie. You can only buy it. In England you can rent it, but then for the Carl Urban movie, you can rent it in Germany. You can't rent it in England.
Basically, that's a better. I would say this is the better solution you got. It's better to buy the good movie than.
The thing is, it's not even like a good version of the movie because it's like a standard old DVD, and I told Annie about it because this is basically the worst DVD I've ever bought as a product. Not really like content-wise, the product
What year?
itself.
Does it say what
bad
year they
as hell.
published this DVD on the back? Anything?
This thing was produced in the when I was looking at in the video, they were saying like late 1990s, like 98 or so. Here the copyright says 2001, so in that kind of
Oh
so
yeah,
it's
that sounds
around
very
millennium.
accurate because
The thing is the bad thing what they did there with the transfer. Basically, they scanned the whole movie. They try to transfer it to a digital medium, and you can see like the scanning effects throughout the entire movie. So like you're seeing an invisible, not really like invisible, but some kind of overlay throughout the entire movie that is basically scrolling upwards to downwards. And you can really like see it like progressing and then returning, like the whole roll of it. And the other thing is the resulting thing that you're getting was a 4:3 signal while scanning a 16:9 movie. So basically what you're getting in the very end is not only like the horizontal lines, but you're getting also vertical lines left and right, which is a bad thing to have for the entire movie. So it's basically like 1/9 of the entire screen is just like the movie itself, and everything else is black.
yeah. And how was actually the Master Universe Blu-ray compared to this?
Better, way better.
You own that shit on Blu-ray?
Yes. When I said
Yes.
and I told him like we're doing this Master of Universe, and I told him it's not available in any streaming in Germany. He's like, I got the solution. He went and bought the few seconds later the Blu-ray.
Yeah. And I also bought this DVD here as well, but I didn't went for the Blu-ray because it's way off the charts. I think that the cheapest thing that I got at Amazon was like 30 to 50 euros or so, and I was thinking like, no, I am not investing 30
not
to
worth
50
it.
euros for this one. I'm sticking with the 15 for this one. So, but that was still
We
like
should have
too
gone
much.
with it. It would have been better.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
At some point, I think ripping it. I'm not really like fan of like off the shelf those kinds of things, but the thing is, I've just like from a ecological point of view, I think most of the companies that were involved with producing this movie actually went under throughout the last couple of years. So I think there is, especially when you have movies like Masters of the Universe and
MGM, I
Judge
think, has
Dredd,
the rights, right? For Master of the
Huh?
Universe, the movie. Is it MGM?
I don't think so.
The one that
thing
we
is,
saw. I think because I
the
think
thing is-
MGM took all of Canon's backlog. I might be wrong.
could be. The thing is, most of those old companies that no longer exist anymore, it's also like the movies itself don't exist anymore. So it's really like some things are forgotten in history, and nobody really cares about like putting them on some kind of digital store or let it rent or something like that. So I think historic for in the future it will be very, very difficult. It's not really like not just for games, but also for those kinds of movies. It's going to be very, very difficult to see in the future. That's kind of sad because this one was actually quite well.
Yeah. So like we mentioned, today is actually a movie because an hour of Stallone's new movie Samaritan. We're looking at his 1995, right? This movie.
Yes,
It's the
1995.
Adaptation of this is the 2000 AD comic book lineup in the UK, right?
Yeah, it's 2000.
Yeah.
And the Judge Dredd character was basically coming from it. similar like 4 was coming from some kind of anthology series. And I think this similar thing was happening with Judge Dredd over there as well, until he became a big character.
Yeah. I mean, because at the time when the movie came out, it was still like an unknown character. He wasn't like, Batman, Superman, or Spider-Man level of success. Because that was at that time, people in the big ones had been Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man.
I think it's also mainly because it's a British-based comic. I think Annie can tell you a little bit more about like the British culture, comic culture. Or
I cannot. I know.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would assume that the spread is, to some degree, it's like worldwide, but not really like Marvel superheroes or DC superheroes. It's knowledgeable to some comic fans, to be sure, but I think it's not really like a well-known big property.
Not like big properties, no.
Yeah, I think even now, for most people, the film is the more like most people know Superman, Batman are comic things. I think with Dredd is is another example you could think of. Most people would think of the film not as a comic character, because even here, I think I've seen it in like W.H. Smith's, which is like a big known bookshop. I'm not sure if they're anywhere in the world, probably are, but the Judge Dredd ones are always in plastic bags you can't see because they're always labeled mature. So even if you're in the shop, you can't even flick through them. You have to buy it to literally see what's inside.
Yeah, I think this is like the main contribution of the original, because it's a really hardcore, gory, kind of comic strip.
But also, you talk about a character who never takes his mask off. How do you can market this movie with a guy you don't know his face?
You do a really good movie where he doesn't take his mask off ever.
Yeah. And sadly, that film didn't underperform at the box office. There were too many reasons why
I blame this movie. This movie made the Carl Urban one lose money because this movie sucked. Well, actually, this movie is good, but it has a bad reputation.
I think I think Carl Urban stated that the marketing itself
the marketing was bad.
Was bad.
Because I know people I know I was not into it. I remember I saw the trailer. Even people I saw, it's like, man, we were nuts. The trailer doesn't look good. It was after I heard the word of mouth, people saying this is good, don't trust the trailer. It was already too late. People already saw it too late.
The thing is, when I look, I watched it today, and I was kind of baffled by the cinematography of it. But of the 2012 Dredd, yeah. But I think it's coming from the fact that sometimes like the back area looks quite cheap compared to today's standards. I think in some reason it's more like a difference in brightness during filming of VFX shots.
It's very stylish, the Dredd.
It's very stylish because they also went for native 3D when they were filming it.
Yeah.
So they were one of those movies that really had like the 3D rigs, and with 2 cameras on top of it, and I think they really went hard on it, and you're really seeing like the result of it for this kind of budget, but. Yeah, unfortunately, it did really well.
And also at that time, that was before Deadpool, because before Deadpool, already
before Deadpool.
Yeah, because they were having a hard time, selling. Watchmen, I think that was at that time the highest grossing R-rated film, but that movie also didn't do well at the box office.
Yeah, it's really really less on irony compared to the original Judge Dredd movie. Yeah. But
especially when you hear the behind the scenes story, what happened with.
Yeah, but the other thing that when I was preparing for this thing is basically also most of the original creators of Judge Dredd basically say from the start that Judge Dredd is basically a fascist character within a fascist society. And they really try to put him in such a situation where he tries to think about those things that he does, and actually think about like because he's just like thinking about the law as his like thing that he has to follow strictly, and then getting confronted with situations where I need to think about what's actually written in the law. Does this apply here as well, or is the law actually written too hard in those kinds of situations? Where I think, and I think you're seeing some of those scenes within Judge Dredd, but not in Dredd. But that's a whole kind of different scenario, because
I think Alex Garland said that if he done the sequel, they would have dived more into this, because
yes, I think if you're going into more like a trilogy of movies, then you would have like a setup where you start with like just introducing a basic set of characters, and then the second and the third one is basically trying to think about, okay, what's happening in the background, what was happening in the early beginnings of like this whole mega structure society, and then deconstructing it and basically destroying it over the course of the third or fourth one, so to say. And I think that this Judge Dredd movie is basically trying to put lots of those things into one movie, and it just like tries to do lots of things at the same time, but fails on so many accounts. That's really like sad, because if you would like strip the whole movie with the name Judge Dredd, I think this would be very fun action hero kind of movie, because I think if you just get rid of the name Judge Dredd, the whole movie would work perfectly fine. I mean, you could even say it's a worse version of the how's it called, the Demolition Man. If you would like really like go into a deep mess after the first one, and the society devolves into some kind of fascist nightmare scenario, and then like John Spartan stays there. No, is it John Spartan? What was it?
Something like this, I know. Because I know the villain's name is Simon Phoenix. And he stays like this whole cop persona from the early 1990s, and try to they fixed the
stick to the law. Yeah, I mean this could have worked actually for this, because also Rob Schneider is in this movie as well.
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
And every time.
The only thing that I was thinking, like the first scene when Diane Lane comes into the movie, I was thinking like, because she's having this helmet on and you're just seeing like the lower part of her face, I was thinking, is Sandra Bullock in this movie?
Yeah, we should talk about the film. Like the film is directed by Danny Cannon, who you might recognize him more for his work in the TV show, where he was, I think, the director, I think the showrunners and producers of Gotham, and now he's actually on Pennyworth, or as like season 3 calls it, Pennyworth, the origin of Batman's butler, whatever it's called. Did you guys saw that?
Changed it 2 weeks. Yeah, they changed it 2 weeks ago.
They removed it?
No, they changed it, but.
Wait, is it legitimately called that?
Yes, it's in the trailer. If you go, you see it's written like this.
I thought that was a joke.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god! Come on.
I mean, you have been hearing lots of stuff about what's happening behind the scenes in Warner Brothers, so that's like the least surprising thing.
Fair.
Yeah. So, and also, the film actually even got some writers like William Weiss, or if I missed his name, William Wisher. William Wisher Jr., who wrote Terminator 2, Judgment Day. They even got Steve E. D'Souza, who wrote Die Hard Commando, and Kai's favorite movie,
and
Street Fighter. He was also director on that film, and they also got Michael DeLuca to help write the story. And this guy, you might not know him, he's also a well-known producer. He produced the original 50 Shades of Grey films, which I know Andy wants to be part of one day.
I'm looking forward to when we do this at some point. Yeah. I'm gonna have props galore.
Kai, I was like, I'm not joining it. I'll watch it. He's also now, I think, the new CEO of WB, whom they hired right now. So basically, there's a chance the guy who wrote Judge Dredd might end up overseeing the DC films.
I'd love to see his 10-year plan. Just It's when he ties this into DC. Like, we'll buy the rights to Judge Dredd, and then we can put this into the DC universe.
Yes, I mean, he did produce some stuff, but since he also produced some good stuff. If you go to his, Wikipedia or IMDb page, let me see, I have it right here. In fact, I wrote that he wrote, I think, Freddy's, the final nightmare, whatever it's called.
The final nightmare.
His final nightmare. He was actually, he was a producer on, what was it? He was a producer on Ghost Rider, Moneyball, Fright Night, the remake, Ravanger. Oh God, he did The Love Guru. You know what?
God!
Everything I said about him being good, I take it back. I take back everything I said.
Oh shit!
Everything I was said, that I take back everything.
That's 180.
Yeah, because I know that he produced a good movie. Like I said, Moneyball. The moment I saw Love Guru, I was like, I took everything back.
He's produced a lot of good movies. There's prime example.
Yeah. God, man. Andy, Mark right now is laughing if you're seeing this.
Oh no, he turned this off the second we made fun of Jersey Girl. He's gone. Mark's long gone.
Yeah.
He's had his little nap.
I like that when I don't have Andy on the show, I end up, stop mentioning Andy. When I have Andy, I end up mentioning Mark.
Which is because husbands and wife bitch about each other. That's what we do.
Yeah. And
I think one of the interesting tidbits about director Danny Cannon was also that way in the 80s, he did some kind of like poster competition where he did some posters for the 2000 comics actually for the Judge Dredd character.
He's a hardcore Dredd fan.
He was actually a hardcore Judge Dredd fan. So I think he wanted to have this movie going more into like the original comic thing, but what's happening there is, I think, very interesting.
I'm also seeing that apparently he did the reshoots for Geostorm. Like they were saying, hey, we need a new. They had to do heavy reshoots, which they brought him to direct in the reshoots.
Geostorm podcast.
He also directed the sequel to what's it? I still know what he did last summer, and apparently, for what I just read, for Dredd, he actually passed on. What was it? He was supposed to do the third Die Hard movie. It's like, no, I'll do Dredd instead.
Thank fuck, because Die Hard 3 is the best Die Hard, so that's good.
And we compare with the sequels that we got, it is better.
I mean, yes, it's like 3, 1, then the rest.
No,
and then like the last one.
It's 1, 2, 3, then the rest of garbage.
Yeah.
Four has its moments.
I mean, it's at least
5
1 and 2
is
were
utter
written by
garbage.
Steve D'Souza. He wrote them, Die Hard 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And even talked about how, in fact, Die Hard nobody wanted Bruce Willis, and they were hating him and stuff. Some behind the scenes stuff. People thought this movie was gonna bomb.
He was one of the best actors in the world.
And we hope he's.
I don't mean Bruce Willis. I don't like Bruce Willis.
Also, since Andy mentioned that, I think we mentioned also in the last podcast about Bruce Willis. Like, yes, I know people were saying, "Man, why are you being harsh on him?" Like, we're not making fun of his mental condition like he's having right now. Because,
oh God, no, yeah. This is like his movies from like 10 years ago. So it's just, he's just, I understand why he does what he does. He's just an actor who's just takes money, which is 100% fair. Yeah, I'm just going to make fun of this.
Because this is what he's being offered right now, and people are saying, "Oh, he's doing this because he wants to leave money for his children." Then that's why he's doing those crappy films.
Which is a decent thing to do. It's just
at
least he knows what he is.
Because also, no Hollywood binges will spend on money on an actor like who has mental because who can't, what's he suffering from that he can't, remember his lines and he can't speak words. Something like
that. I think they have to like feed his lines. He has a head earpiece and then he has to just repeat what he's being told.
They say that's why he's doing, because I know that he has an earpiece with one of his ears. He's got damaged from shooting Die Hard.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but remember the scene on the table in Die Hard 1, he starts shooting the gun. The echo was very damaged. It damaged one of his ears, so he had to wear an earpiece for it.
Damn.
Yeah. All right. So this, like you mentioned, is Danny Ken. It opens with a narration by, out of all the people, James Earl Jones. What was your guys' reaction when you first heard this? Like, wait, that sounds like Darth Vader saying the narration and talking about unstoppable force, etc.
I was so surprised. There's a part of me that thought that can't, it has to be a James L. Jones like impersonator. Yeah. There's no way this movie got James L. Jones. So like, oh no, it fair enough, it did for 20 seconds, and it
the best honestly filled me with hope. Life.
it filled me with hope. Like, this movie might be good.
Maybe they told them because there's the word for this is narration for Star Wars to trick them.
I mean, Jennifer just has like one of the best voice. Like, it's James L. Jones, Patrick Stewart, Morgan Freeman are just voices of the legends.
I mean, Morgan Freeman was also. I mean, to be fair, Morgan Freeman was also in The Love Guru in the beginning of the film as a voice.
For example, that's a good movie.
Hey, at least Celine Dion didn't appear on screen. They only used her song. Remember the scene? Celine Dion, you see like from back a woman coming on stage, and then you see her hand on stage. It's like.
You're like, yeah, they couldn't afford that. She's like, no.
No. But they got what's in Jessica Simpson and Val Kilmer.
I mean, as we've discussed, Val Kilmer does most things for money, as we know. He's not the best actor choice, Like, he's even in a Kevin Smith movie. Fucking hell.
I mean, right? I mean, he's in, what is it, Maverick. They can fix everything. The highest grossing film of the year.
They've not seen that.
Yeah. I only know because there's the one that tell you see his painting, and people say he appears in the film.
Yeah, I think it's just like a small cameo. I think he had
throat cancer. He can't speak.
In the last couple, couple of years.
I think his son sometimes dubs over his voice now. Something. But I know. I think he's doing. I mean, he even came out. It's like, I used to be a jerk. Because if you guys heard the story about what he did in The Island of Dr. Moreau, you would hear about his story, how he was a jerk. And he probably came out, it's like, I used to be a jerk. Because a lot of actors, to hear them, it's like, I used to be an ego, I used to be a jerk. I mean, Stallone's a good example, like how he actually, he had an ego sometimes. He was like, I want this movie, this is how I want, because he had power how to change the movie. I mean, the same thing happened with Dredd, and he had powers, like, hey, this is how I want the movie to be.
I mean, when you think of 80s, you think of Stallone. It's his decade of just everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing it basically if you're looking at Rocky and Rambo. I mean, in Rocky himself, it's him being like the main author of the entire story, and then him also being like the main actor for it, and then later on also directing. So it's basically a powerhouse with regards to acting in front of it and
also,
being behind the scenes
also,
as well.
Stallone was that happy. He's not been making lots of money. He's been releasing bombs a lot, and it took, I think, Rocky Balboa to. I think that's a Rocky 6, if I'm not mistaken, to bring him back.
Yeah, but Rocky 6 took long time after Rocky 5.
Yeah.
Rocky 5 came out, I think, in 1990.
Yeah, because that was badly received by everyone, critics, audience, and fans.
Yeah, and Rocky Balboa came out like 2010-ish.
Yeah, because after that he did Rambo 4.
Yes. This was like the new creation. It's also like the Expendable movies when he did those as well.
Then he did start, because you saw him like he's a little bit slower now. He's moving away like from doing hardcore action, because I know they're doing Expendables 4 and they're saying that it's gonna be Stallone's last Expendable film. And it's like Jason Statham was like, this might be taking over the franchise from him.
Jason Statham?
They're also making another one?
Oh yes, but the guy who did.
They're also making it into a franchise. They
did
have a whole like female-based one in planning. No. And I think Megan Fox is
Megan Fox, 50 Cent, Tony Jaa, and the bad guy is Echo. I forgot the guy from The Raid. He's the bad guy, the lead.
Fucking Christ! What? John Malkovich?
No.
No, it was Neil. You said guy from Red.
The Raid. I mean The Raid.
Oh, The Raid. Sorry.
The Indonesian film, The Raid.
More different movies.
Yeah, no way.
I mean, just imagine John Malkovich being the villain. I mean,
that'd be great. I'd watch the shit out of that.
I mean,
like,
have you seen
Johnny English?
I've seen Con Air. He was there.
Good enough.
This is the reason why usually Con Air works within. Sometimes when I think something watch action movies, like man, this movie action might not be good, but it's actually the villain's what makes it amazing. That's why Die Hard works mostly like you focus more on Hans Gruber than the hero.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, that's definitely the thing. And the villain in this movie is just fine.
Yeah. And I do also like the story of Hans Gruber. It was like when he gets thrown from the top of the building. He said, I counted 3, but he said 1 and he dropped him just to get that. Yeah.
Shit, I hope that's not a hostage.
Well, that's, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Alan Rickman's first film, right? Die Hard?
Yes, yeah, because he was cheap as fuck.
That's his first movie because he used to do theater and there's songs like I think he'll be a great character and that was his first movie.
Yeah.
That's the best acting debut I think in the film. And I like the part where he turns American. Oh please.
Oh God, help me, help.
Yeah.
That's just like as bad as that American accent is, that's like when any American tries to do an English accent. It just doesn't work.
Good dark class.
What do you thought of a German accent guy in the movie Die Hard?
He was actually better than most of the others. Let's say it like that.
I don't think all the actors were German, if I'm not mistaken. I think one of them was
Definitely not. Sometimes it feels like that. Most of them are German-based actors that, for some reason, are like first or second generation Americans, or second generation, like coming to America, and so they do know some words, but like the spelling.
But he doesn't know the word "shoot the glass."
Completely off. Shoot the glass. Schieß den Glas. Which is like a wrong pronunciation. Is schieß das Glas, oder schieß auf das Glas, which would be like the proper German.
I don't think they had to go to training for speak German. Just have them.
I mean, funnily enough, I was watching 24 episodes with Jürgen Prochnow, who was also in this movie.
What's it?
Just to spin it around, and at that point, Kiefer Sutherland starts speaking in German. And Kiefer Sutherland starts speaking German in this episode, and he's actually decent in this episode, but he's supposed to have a German name. It's called Meyer, but they're also referring to him as Meyer or Mia the whole time. Which, like, I think they could have asked Jürgen Prochnow at that point, like, how do you spell this name correctly? And I think he could help with that. But,
that's how sometimes I hear about Asian production. Like, sometimes you watch Asian movies, TV shows, sometimes when you see English actors do not speak English well, or maybe the actors do not speak. Most of the time it's because the people are making the film and production do not speak English, or they mostly rely on the actors to do their English. And sometimes what you took to take, this is how you speak, and sometimes they don't have translations from Google Translate to take. That's what they're doing right now instead of hiring a translator.
I think one of the most interesting transitions was Ana de Armas, who basically hasn't spoken English since the last couple of years, and I was watching The Grey Man a couple of days ago, and I forgot to ask you about what did you think of the film? It was an okay movie. It was a
fine average film.
It feels like as if like the actor the group from the MCU movies wanted to do it's the Russo brothers, Chris Evans, and
he's the best part of the film. Chris Evans, he's having fun.
He's really having fun in this one, but it feels like they're taking like the core concept of like the Winter Soldier movies, like the rawness of it, and so this kind of works in this kind of respect, but it doesn't really feel connection with the main actor, with the main character of it.
It's written by the same writers of Winter Soldier and Civil War.
It's McFeely and like the two authors of
The two writers, the same guys who
Yeah.
wrote, the Captain America movies and Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, it really feels like let's come together and do a movie just without the other Marvel guys and then do our own thing. It really feels like that.
Yeah, and Netflix giving us $200 million to do whatever we want.
Yeah, and you see that. The only thing that was bothering me throughout the movie was like the whole amount of drone shots, which were kind of like nauseating.
Did you saw Ambulance? That's
No.
like Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya
Yes.
How is this compared?
The Michael Bay movie.
It has drone shot. How is it compared with the drone shot?
Let's just say there is the drone shots in this movie and the drone shots in the Michael Bay movie. In this one, it's basically you're trying to have lots of your actors within one frame, within one coherent scene, which kind of works in the scenario. Whereas Michael Bay goes full on like crazy. I can do 180 degree or 360 degree shots. Why not? And just like flies around, and you're really getting nauseated by the drone shots in over there. Yeah. But I kind of like the action in the movie.
Yeah.
Because they destroy some cities over there, which was quite interesting.
It's Michael Bay. He destroys cities. That's his job.
No, I mean I was talking about the Gray Man, and they also destroy cities.
I found Ryan Gosling not very interesting in the film. He's supposed to be the lead.
Yeah, that was what I was mentioning. You don't really feel like him being a sympathetic like character overall.
And people are more excited to see him as the Ken doll in the Barbie movie over this.
And actually, they are making fun of those things in this movie.
Mentioned Ken.
And that was really, really meta at that point.
I think Chris Evans' brother's in the Barbie movie too, if not mistaken.
Okay, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. I just noticed that we spent 15 minutes not talking about the movie.
Let's go back to Judge Dredd.
Yeah, so we talked about the narration, like we introduced like the word like the Earth, like by 2020 it became like a wasteland. There's the cursed Earth was like the desert, and then there's the mega city was the city, which fills with population, a lot of tons of people. Like if I'm not mistaken, it's like classes, like the higher up, like the best, like buildings, the best class, and the lower down are the slums, right? Because we see like in the beginning and the
yeah. I think more or less it's also coming down to like this whole like levels within like mega towers.
Yes. Yeah, because we begin, of course, with seeing like Rob Schneider. We'll call him Rob Schneider. We don't know what his name is. He comes in. He says,
Fergie. I think his name is Ferguson. So most of them are calling him Rob Schneider. Fergie.
Rob Schneider. He's playing Becky Slaps. No matter what you call him, he's still playing Rob Schneider.
Yeah, Rob Schneider is playing a Rob Schneider-like character here.
I do. Lee Polero, our friend of the show, and I would reviewed. What was it? Surf Ninja. He was 30. I think the 30 when he made this film. He's playing a teenager. I think a 15-year or 16. Yes, because the actor.
I thought he was like mid-20s. I thought.
No, because the actor who was playing the lead. Let me see. Rob Schneider. Let's put down the calculus for a minute. Because he was born in 1963, and well, let me see. When did
was this supposed to be another character?
93 minus 1963. Yes, he was 30 when the film came out. So basically, he was 29 when he made that film. Maybe.
Yeah, but they initially wanted to go for Joe Pesci as the character for this role.
Oh, by the way, when I say Rob Schneider was 30, I was talking about the Surf Ninja.
We're talking about Dredd, right? Okay, sorry.
I was talking.
Because he was the same age also with Demolition Man. The 30 when he did, they both came out. Because 2 years later, so I think he was 32 when he did Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Fergie, he come out of prison. Did he finish his sentence or was he in parole?
He finished his sentence.
Yeah.
And he
He
came
gets
back and wanted to go actually to where he used to live.
But instead, he goes in there and we see there's a riot happening and he gets into a room where writers led by James Remar out of all people. And I remember because his name is not credited in the movie. It's like, is that James Remar? Even after the post credit, when I see the credit rolling down, it's like, he's not credited. And when I had to look up, yes, he's not credited in the film.
Weird, because it's not like he's I mean, he's a big enough. I recognize him from Dexter, but it's not like he's big enough to be like a secret cameo. Like that seems like just a general fuck up.
More than just a cameo, because before that he did 48 Hours and The Warriors. It's like his two biggest film. I mean, so basically he is recognizable by people. Oh, was he in The Rookie? They're saying he was an episode of The Rookie.
Yeah, I think he is. It must be season 3 or 4.
Is that episode called Breakdown? Let me check. Season 4.
There we go. Right, it's more recent. I'm now going to look. You carry on talking. I'm going to look into this.
Yeah. It's most excited because I mentioned The Rookie. So
it's a good show.
Yeah,
good show.
Because it's not available on Disney Plus, that's why I can't see it. Do you see it on Disney Plus, the show?
No, I watch it on Sky.
Because Castle I know is on Disney Plus all episode. Even Firefly.
Yeah, knowing you're not Serenity though.
Yeah, Serenity is because it's Universal. Is it because it's on Peacock? Maybe that's why.
I think it's on Netflix here, but yeah.
I think it's on Amazon, my country. Let me check. You're checking something. How about you, Carl? You're checking something?
Let's go back to Dredd. Let's go back to Dredd.
So they go ahead and they attack. They keep the. Rob Schneider, Fergie, he gets into his house and he meets James Remar and his crew. They're fighting. The judges, we got one of them, Diane Lane, and her friend, the Rookie, they come in to stop them, but they said we need backup. Then the backup came and it's Judge Dredd. Andy, do you want to talk about his introduction?
You mean the really slow-mo thing of like the slightly cool boots and then the skin tight like onesie, but then just something to protect his cock. Yeah. Like it's a hefty.
Yeah. Which is actually designed by Gianni Versace himself.
I just noticed.
Really?
Yes, I was like,
yes.
Gianni Versace. Why is he credited in the movie? It's like, because he designed the costume for Dredd.
I mean, it's all like the mask. Like I get the thing of the shoulder pads; they were way over the top. There's just the skin tight. Like, they look like pajamas with, as I keep mentioning, the bit coverings that like he's covering Stallone's most important. Well, possibly what Stallone thinks is his most important feature. Most men would say the same.
I know the guy. Gianni Versace is gay in real life, but I'm pretty sure people made some lot of gay innuendo jokes with this.
You could probably measure that hit by hand, like just.
Okay. Also, we're not being homophobic if people are listening. He even did one costume for a Steven Seagal film. We'll talk about me one day.
If it helps, I'm bisexual, so I can make gay jokes.
All right.
That's not a good reason. That was a joke. Don't worry. Let's carry on. But yeah, the costumes are awful. Just I don't know why.
It's very close to the comic book, at least. They were very close to the comic book, like the Dredd 25, because this one at least they made sure that it's very close to the comic. Because if you look at photos of Judge Dredd in the comic, it looks very similar. But I don't know if he had that thing, the protective thing. What do you call it?
Just the cup. We'll call it the cup.
We call it the cup, the protective cup. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to go into the inside instead of the outside. And I do like it when later he's posing like the superhero pose, and Diane Lane, he's know what he's doing.
Yeah. It's like you just look and admire it. Just admire the full thing. It's because that sort of stuff does work. Artistically in comics, a bit like when people kicking off about the Star Wars thing that the animated doesn't look like live action. This is a moment they should have gone. We should maybe dial it down it's nearly there. It just needs it needs one more rework, and it would have been fine. but yeah, it's a bit over the top.
Okay. Yes. So of course we see him screaming his first word, "I am the law."
I just sent you over the Discord chat one page with like costume designs, and the things that you were mentioning here is basically also shown there as well.
Why is it glittery? Why has he got a glittery knob?
I mean, do we need an explanation?
It's just. I like how they've gone to the effort to draw the 6-pack on there.
Boom. Yeah. All right. So we would. Oops! I just noticed that.
Okay.
Am
I
the
back
video
again?
because the video I opened the chat and then the screen with the captured that. No more, I fixed it. I mean, this whole thing was a goddamn shit show. That's go. I mean, we just in the beginning. Andy disappeared, and now he's.
Okay. My bad.
What just happened?
You got disconnected, and now you came back.
Fair enough. Let's roll your overall ball is working.
Oh, I think everything's working fine. I think like I said, this is turning into a drunk stream, so none of us is drinking. The only time we had someone drinking the show didn't turn into a drunk stream.
I will drink when we do Last Jedi. Then I'll get drunk.
Okay. So where's that? Yeah, so Dredd comes in and he decides I'll handle this situation on my own. He goes on then to one of the room. He starts killing the bad guy. The rookie gets injured, and we see like his change is gone. Armor piercing. What's it? Whammy, double whammy, or some stuff he says. Still nothing.
I like how the gun has the most monotone voice.
Yes.
Just double whammy.
Double whammy. Someone, I remember if I was to look at a review, maybe there's a back massage. Vibrator. You know, something with this, if it's a female, maybe it would work better.
Just blow job.
Yeah, double whammy shot. And I do like is the fact that you see a guy, you know, he holds the gun and he just gets executed. And the scene later is like, it blows up your gun, it doesn't. Because we see it in the Dredd 2012, a guy with his hand gets blown up when he grabs the gun. So you see him like, so he comes up there, he actually judges, you know, James Remar is like, he kills him because they say he judges him to death. They came, the see reporters are talking, one of them is played by Mitchell Ryan. He was actually, like I said, he was in Dharma and Greek people might recognize him, reporting about the crime. And then what was that? Oh yeah, Judge Dredd, and he's about walking by to hear like the recycling food thingy device is acting weird. He finally drops Schneider and he's like, I'm sending you to 5 years in prison. He's like, I just got out.
He was just trying to protect himself, poor Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
What should you do if you're coming back from a 5-year sentence in the first place?
I mean,
find out that your whole place is being robbed and being like
riots and
I don't know.
guns. Like just walk away. Just like I'm gonna go coffee shop. I'll come back later. It's fine.
But they grabbed him. They forced him to come inside. Remember? Yeah. So.
True.
Yeah. So after that, what
Poor
happened?
fellow.
Oh yes. Then we cut to the judge where we see Max von Sydow's character, Chief Justice Fargo, and it's fine now since we're mentioning the word Fargo. I read I think somewhere that the Coen brothers were supposed to want to direct. They looked at the director film before they went with Danny Cannon because they had some other directors in, but all of them passed on. Danny Cannon picked up directing because he's a fan of the source material. And then we also got Judge Griffin played by what's his name? Kai? Joran.
Max von Jürgen Prochnow.
Yes. When we might recognize him from the David Lynch doing playing Duke Leto in it. They're talking about and because of how the fact judges like crime is increasing, he said like, hey, we have to what's it because I forgot what's it called the thing he wants to start next to something.
With the project thing.
Yes. What's it called? The project?
It's Junus, isn't it?
Is it Jonas?
Something like that. Jonas. Because it's named after the Doctor Woman.
Yes, Jonas. Yes, the project. Yeah, we said we need this one to help us, but it wasn't Fargus against the head chief justice. So after that, we see him, like he said, he wants to talk. They bring in Dredd. That's where we see him on Maxim's. This caused lots of controversy because Dredd, in the comic, doesn't remove his mask.
Yeah, it's Sylvester Stallone. He wants to show his face, and I mean, he takes it off when he's changing and stuff. It's not as off as much as I remember. I thought it was like the whole movie. It is most of the movie, but when he's meant to have it on, he does have it on.
Yeah, but it's mostly like 80% is off.
It is, but then the whole uniform's off. I always imagined it was everything but the helmet. Like when he's kicked out, that makes sense. When he's changing, it makes sense. It's not as egregious as it still should be on more, like the Carl Urban one, because it's thing. But it's not like in my head, I'm always thinking he's wearing everything else but the helmet. It's a bit more passable, but still.
That's why I think it's a bit passable. And then what was it? There, I think later it cuts and when he's in his locker room, he's talking to Diane Lane. She tells him, like, hey, don't you have any friends? Like, I used to have a friend. And then he tells him, you don't have any emotions, like you don't have any friends. But then he tells her, I judged the friend. And then later, it cuts to the prison where we see the warden he goes on to meet Rico, who's played by Armand DeSanti, whom people might recognize him from that HBO movie Gotti. Not that terrible 0% one with John Travolta. Maybe one day we might do it. That movie, I'm only wanting to review it because they challenged the people and the critics. It's like, are you going to listen to the trolls telling you to go watch a movie? Come watch. Don't listen to the trolls. He calls the critic trolls. That's why I want to review it. Yeah, so he comes in. He tells them he didn't never say, but they say that your mysterious benefactor, he sent you this package. And then we open it. We see his judge badge and the photo of the news reporter who was reporting the crime. And then the whole thing turns out to be a gun. He shoots the warden. The warden gets killed by the machine gun, and then he escapes. And then after
he somehow escapes a maximum security prison.
Yeah.
Which for some reason he ends up in a body bag, but
we don't see what happens because I thought he's actually hiding because at first he was hiding one of the guards. He killed one of the guards. He took his clothes and made him look. That's what I thought.
Yeah, like he was gonna be a guard, sneak out, get on the next transport back to Mega City.
But that's like a deleted scene at that point.
I mean, there's some deleted
scenes because otherwise it doesn't make sense.
Because there are some deleted scenes. You know what? The scenes feel like they're deleted because of their rating. Because that was like the big controversy with the film. Like, apparently, I was watching an interview with Steve D'Souza where he basically said he wrote a PG-13 film because that's what the studio wanted and Stallone. They wanted a PG-13 film. He wrote a PG-13 script. He said the director can't take it. He was like, nah, I want to make it. He blames the director. It's like, he says in the interview, like, he's a great guy. Like, he did Pennyworth and Gotham. Like, I don't have hard feelings with him. He said he took the script. He's like, I'm gonna make it R-rated, like the source material. I remember the 3 or 4 times it got X-rated, and they had to edit more time to get an R-rated the film. And the problem is they already had deals with restaurants and stuff like for Happy Meals and toy manufacturers for Judge Dredd. They said we can't market an R-rated film. They released the film R-rated. They start suing the Disney because Disney published the film through Hollywood Pictures.
Yeah, but not only like the release of the movie is basically like the big question into what kind of like direction the movie is going to be produced or it's going to be released.
Basically, they didn't have someone oversee the production from when they were shooting in London.
Yeah, I mean during the shooting itself, you can see like the main difference because I think most like the production, like Sylvester Stallone, basically most of the time is in a different movie than most of the other actors to some degree.
Yeah, because he even said that they wanted humor. That's why they brought Rob Schneider. He told them, you want humor? Let's put Rob Schneider. Even Steve D'Souza said he was brought in to rewrite the script to add humor and twists, etc. Of course, Armand DeSanti, playing Rico, he escapes and then he hits to, a pawn shop. He tells them, you have a package for me, and it's a gun, a judge's gun. he tells him like, "Don't, it will blow your hand unless you're a judge." And he grabs the gun. Will you look at that? I must be a judge. He kills him. I like that he goes on and the robot's like, what does he say? Is as long as it's on server like my wife, something like this. And I do like the only way he activates, he goes on, he presses few wires, ping, ting. So telling me that if anyone comes and press 2 wires, he can't get activated. That's one thing.
Just follow that person's rule. No, not the actual owner, just anyone who had turned him on.
Yeah. And of course, I like that after he activates, he grabs the owner's cigar. Is that the same cigar later in another scene when he's fighting to kill the judges? He's also smoking a cigar. Is that the same cigar?
A similar one, I think.
Because I think it's the same one that he picked from his dead body. Of course, we later see like the reporter, the Mitchell Ryan, the reporter. He's in his house with his wife, and they're talking. There's 4 of his grandchildren. Instead, he tells them like, "I can Project Genesis." Because he's like very because he said he wants to report it and about this project thing is about to expose the judges. However, we see a judge come in and you see him like the word Dredd. I think the logo says Dredd on the badge, right? He said Dredd. No, he starts killing the judges, and Steve D'Souza, I think he claims in his script, he say that he crushes in and then it cuts outside the binders and you see a flashlight happening. He said when he went, he saw a screening for the film. He saw the scene. He was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? This is an R-rated." Then they told him that guy was like, "No, this is PG-13. You see, there's no blood. You're coming from the script. There's no blood." It's like, I worked in the industry. I had problems with the MP. I know when they're gonna give us R rating and a PG-13. They gave them an X rating instead. That's the thing, because like I said, too many cooks and the people, they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have someone to oversee the production. Because that's what whole the story I've read, that Disney actually wanted PG-13. Danny Cannon was like, he had no one oversee him. It's like, fine, I'll make it very close to the source material. And then Pedro D'Souza, according to him, he said Disney hated him, that he one time went to pitch a TV show, I think a reboot of Greatest American Hero with the original creator, Stephen Cannell. They went in and they liked him. Then few weeks later, they got a phone call. They were telling him, "Hey, what did you do with Disney?" Because they called me. It's like, "Hey, they rejected your pitch because they say, oh, you're the guy who made us cost money with Dredd." It's like, we'll never work at Disney or ABC again. But he was like, they didn't meet. A few years later, I started working with Disney, with ABC on a TV show.
I think Stephen Ken at the end of the movie was also saying whenever he's going to produce another movie or a TV show, he's no longer going for a high name actor anymore, because
that's Danny Cannon, he said.
Oh, Danny Cannon.
Yeah, because Stallone at that time is known for having a giant ego. He was filming because it's why you hear him and Van Damme, because people saying, oh, they're hard to work for. Because right now I think because they got more mature and stuff, I think with what their career setback and stuff, just like they're looking at life differently. Yeah. So when you grow older, you look different at your life. But it's like, man, what the hell was I doing in my life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe right now, a few years later, it's like, yeah, man, we should have talked about this movie faster than speaking of. Why is it talking about other stuff?
As I say, I've got 10 minutes before I have to disappear, so...
So I think we can go quickly about this. So Judge Dredd, later we see him at that scene. We were saying about Steve D'Souza. We see him he blows up the girl for rich guy, and that rich guy is actually his name's D'Souza. I don't know if there was the Jap on the screenwriter, because I know that Danny Can's D'Souza were not looking eye to eye with some of the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then here is where Dredd gets arrested by the judges. Then there they say that they try. He brings Diane Lane's character. What's her name? Judge Hershey. She can be his defense lawyer. As they are judging him, they say that we can't use the video camera because it can be alterated. Fargo allows them to not use as an evidence. And then the other judge is the white-haired woman judge. She comes and says use actually the technicality she calls central. The computer, she opens the device. She mentioned that each gun lock is marked with a DNA. By the judge who shoots it gets marked to the bullet. And you find out that no one actually in the judges actually knew about even Dredd. they say that the DNA came back matched to Dredd. It's like, that's a lie. I didn't do it. I am the law. Like he said, I've been framed. Yeah, of course they say we'll take us like what's it, recess until we will bring out the verdict. Fargo, he's speaking like with what was his name? Judge Dredd. So he tells them like I'm going to step down and from the Chief Justice and I'm gonna go to do the long walk because you're gonna give me one final wish. He goes on the judge. Dredd gets sentenced like for death, but Fargo says before we begin, so I want to tell you that I'm actually stepping down. I'm going to the long walk as my final wish. I think you guys show mercy for Dredd, and then that's when because I have to run time score the run. Griffin decides like we sent him to life in prison. They strip away from his armor and shield, and he gets taken to to the plane which has also Rob Schneider in it. And then we find out that Griffin is in cahoots with with Rico and he tells them like we need to, you're gonna help me bring back the Janus project because we need to bring more tougher, stricter judges that know the law like you and Dredd to stop that crime in the rising city. So we see like Dredd, they're in the plane with Rob Schneider, and Rob Schneider's like, oh yeah, it's sitting next to him. He's annoying him like what Rob Schneider does in every film. But then you see a criminal behind him tries to kill Judge Dredd, but we see like some strangers in the desert, they blew up the ship. And then later you see like Judge Hershey, like she's trying to investigate like about Dredd and stuff. She opens his locker, she finds a photo of him and Rico. She goes to one of the guy students they work. She tells him, "Can you look at this photo?" Instead, he looks at the photo of him as a baby. He's like, this is the wrong photo." It's like, but the photo, he tells her, this photo of Judge, the baby is fake. It's like, fake? You look. Everything in the photo is fake with the exception of the baby. And then you saw him like use CG and it turns like he's in a lab.
And this was way before Photoshop.
Yeah. I miss Judge Dredd. Okay, so after that...
It was probably easier to just get actors to put the baby somewhere, get some fake actors and just take the photo for real than use the futuristic Photoshop. Like,
yeah,
that was a weird choice.
Yeah. So Jed, you seem like he's been captured by the Angel family. One of them was played by the actor who plays Herschel in The Walking Dead. What's his name? Scott Wilson. And one of his children is played by Ewan Brumner. He's from Trainspotting, if you guys remember, playing Spot. He was most also recently in Wonder Woman as the Scottish soldier. Then they're actually they speak like in South actually like they're very like about those religious Catholic stuff. You see, oh look, we got Judge Dredd, we can kill him. And then Rob Schneider was like, hallelujah, my brothers. And they just, oh, he's a friend of us, a believer, let's free him. It's like, what's his name? Fergie, I forgot to tell you. Judge Dredd tells them, these guys are cannibals, they're going to eat you. It's like, oh hell no. Then Dredd frees inside, then he fights them and he kills them. And then we also see Fargo, who coming from his long walk, coming here to help Dredd. Of course, he gets stabbed by one of the brothers, but Dredd kills him. There is, I think, is where Fargo tells him the story about the Genesis projects. Like, we took the DNA of all the perfect judges to create the perfect judge. We created you. You're not just like a human, and we also created your brother Rico. It's like you kept all this idea from me, and then he was like, Stallone decides like, you know what, we're gonna go stop Rico. There, I think, is where we see Rico and. He gets shown like the Janus project room and he meets the doctor. What's her name? Elsa Hayden, who thinks she's very thirsting on Rico about the whole movie. I mean, even later when you see like the way it's like, okay, now she's wearing very casual clothes. Then later you see like she's wearing like very sexy dress. Later in the film, it's like, okay, now what the hell is going on here? That's where you see them. They start attacking like the judges. Like judges are getting killed, blow up. And then you find out this is their project. Then Judge with him, Griffin, he tells them this. The other judge is like, look, if you guys want to do this, we can deactivate Judge the project. Janus project. We have to reactivate it. We can have more better judges to handle the situation. So they all agree to activate the projects. So we see like Dredd and what's his name, Fergie. You guys are being quiet. You guys want to talk about something?
No, we'll just let you carry on. Don't
No.
worry. Good.
Yeah. So they sneak in the place first, like we see that whole fire thing. Sometimes this part will make me want to tell Rob Schneider to shut up all the time. He's thinking.
This is when Rob Schneider went from like being the comic relief to, oh, for God's sake, he's the most annoying thing in this movie.
Who is he worse than James Corden?
No one's worse than James Corden.
Okay.
The funny thing is,
maybe Ryan Johnson.
Maybe if this movie got made, James Corden would have played the Rob Schneider role.
Oh.
I could see it. Yeah, that would make
because
sense.
That's what they did with the Three Musketeers, though, the one that had Luke Evans, Ray Stevenson, and Mads Mikkelsen. Because they had him play the sidekick, I was like, man, just him again. Yeah, because I also watched Congo. It had, what's his name, Ernie Hudson, and the film speaking in British accent. Basically, if you saw him, it's like, wow, if this movie got made today, Idris Elba would have played this role. Because he's practically he's charismatic and smooth and cool. It's like, man, he's practically playing Idris Elba before Idris Elba was around. Okay, so I was like, yes, so they sneak into, how do you say, we have to go inside the judge mansion. They attack one of the judges and he starts taking slow. And Rob Schneider's like, we don't have time for this. He looks at him.
Yeah, that was a weird fucking scene. Like, what the heck?
I mean,
do you think he was just going
to be blamed for it because he's the one who told him, let's get the Rob Schneider in the film.
So weird.
Because he worked with him on Demolition Man. It's like, we need comedy, let's get him. Yeah, so they sneak in, and that idiot himself, he's the one who's born. Because they're walking out, one of the judge hears him, he calls him Dredd. They sneak in because they come up late because Griffin has Rico come inside and kill the other judge that they don't stop the Janus project. And then when Griffin shoots his hand to blame Judge Dredd that he's the killer, they start chasing, and then we get that jetpack, flying wheel chase. With this green screen, and were the people moving fast with the edit when they were flying? No, but they were flying, and then people like they were edit like they move very fast. The people.
Probably because I noticed at the beginning when Dredd first comes on the screen, it's slow mo, but it's really shit slow mo, so everything's like slowed down in a really jumpy way. So it would probably make sense that when they want to speed things up, they just
the jetpack's flying.
Yeah, they just moved everything.
The thing is, for 1995, it was pretty state of the art, actually.
Yeah.
So,
nowadays it looked shit.
I mean, I would say the production design ain't that bad. The film.
Yeah.
The costume, the weapons, and the set decoration for.
In a direct comparison, I mean, you had the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
It felt like Super Mario, but better produced.
But way better, way better.
And it's funny. I think it's the same. Disney also did Super Mario Bros. Right?
I don't know.
All right. So they escape and then they go to Judge Hershey's room and they see like his arm has been crashed, but she's alive. That's where he tells her like everything about him, like how Rico's his brother and how he's actually a clone, not a part of the Janus project. And then we see like Rico, he decides like, you know what, screw this DNA, just use my DNA. Griffin comes in, he finds that he replaced his DNA. It's like, what did you do? And then he has this robot thingy to kill him. And according also, I think in this scene, you're going to see him like he in the original, he says that the series says don't escape. You see like he's about to pull him, but then he cuts to Armand DeSantis, but he's laughing, and then you hear like the sound of him getting torn apart. But Danny can design an animatronic, but you see that just brutally torn him to pieces. Because
he had a fetish of just pulling everyone's arms and leg off. He mentioned it like 4 times, so yeah it makes sense at some point they were going to show it.
Yeah, and then he actually, because of the X-rating, they only showed his blood coming on his legs. They had to tone it down.
Yeah.
So and there was like
just a small mention with the remarks of Super Mario Bros. Is actually the same Hollywood Pictures and Synergy Pictures. It's the same company, and they also were distributed by Buena Vista Pictures in the US. Yeah. Just like to get this thought.
I wonder if maybe they took all the good ones, Judge Dredd took them, the bad one, they give it to Super Mario. Because then they do this stuff. Or maybe the recycles like will do it better. Okay, so after that, let's see. Okay, so there's like we need to find somewhere to hide. They say that the best way to find the Project Genesis location is this location with power surges. And then they find out that she tells like there's an area in the location where the Statue of Liberty is placed because Hershey tells them like we experience lots of power surges in that area. So they drive into the Statue of Liberty and they get caught up by the robot, and we see the robot, wounding Rob Schneider, which I think is everyone's favorite best part of the film, right? Do you wish that he would died in the film, Andy?
pull his arms and legs off,
Yeah.
rip his head off, and put his head up the other end.
Yeah. So that's where we see him like he talks and he shows him like clones. He tells him like to join me. He tells him no. He was like, you won't join me, fine. Like he tells him like kill like the Judge Hershey. It's like, but then we should just stop Schneider. It's like he's just hacks the robot and he just damages his body and he dies. And then later we see like the female doctor. What's her name? Dr. Hayden. She starts fighting Judge Hershey. It's actually a good fight scene, and because I've read, they did most of the stunt with except for one stunt. They had stunt that was when the headbutt scene. It was like she calls her bitch, it's like Judge bitch, and she hits it. And funny enough, I don't know if Kai found the photos. They say that they had to also remove in this scene them fighting, the clone judges that Rico releases that were not fully prepared. Because I know that because of the rating they had to remove it. They said there are photos still from promotion. You can find them online, but I couldn't find them. Did you find them, Kai, when you were looking into research?
No, I didn't.
So he goes after Judge Dredd goes after to go after Rico, but Rico pushes him and he's hanging on top of the Statue of Liberty. But Dredd he outsmarts and he drops him from the Statue of Liberty to his death, and then Dr. Hayden comes in. She's about to kill Judge Dredd, but he gets saved by Judge Hershey. After that, we see him come out from the home, and then we see all the judges outside. They say that Central broadcast. How did they know? Did they say that Central broadcasted them like what they're doing?
Pretty much all of that stuff when they were fighting.
How did they send them?
There's a big computer. I assume there's cameras everywhere, and it would just show the cameras on the judges' TVs and bikes.
Central send was it? I think there might be a deleted scene. Maybe they didn't show it.
Probably, yeah. It probably makes sense. Rob Schneider somewhere hacked it to, send it elsewhere. But yeah.
So after that, because they said like since we don't have the Council of Judges, they want Judge Dredd to be their chief judge, and he tells them, no, I'm a street judge. I won't have to go clean the streets. You see Rob Schneider being dragged to a hospital, which we don't know if he's got pardoned for his crimes or not, for hitting Judge Dredd or not. I would say he did not get pardoned.
No, he's going straight back to Aspen.
Yeah. All right. And then we see him like Judge Hershey gives Judge Dredd a kiss, and then of course we've got to mention throughout the whole movie his catchphrase. I know you would say that.
I know you would say that.
Yeah. You should say that. And of course, he takes up and he drives over to the man. He looks at the people are cheering for him, and then he stops at the balcony, at the area, at the edge to see the city, waiting for the next crime for him to stop. The film ends and the movie ends with the credit and the song. I don't know if you guys know this band. They're called The Cure. They did actually.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they did a song also for The Crow. It's called Burn. This one I think is called the Dredd song, if I'm not mistaken.
Catchy title.
Yeah, and the song I think is good. Also, the musical also by Alan Sylvester is also good. I like the theme. Na 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 na, like very super heroic.
Yeah, see, I thought that the music is good music. It doesn't work in this movie when it's all meant to be depressing and dark. It's a bit off a bit.
Yeah, because they had multiple composers there. It wasn't supposed to be Jerry Goldsmith, the guy who did, I think. He did the Star Trek, right? Music?
He did 1, 5, 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
That's a lot of shit ones.
Yeah.
But he also
did
did
the TV show, right? He did the theme for the TV show.
No, basically they took his theme song from the motion picture and then basically.
I mean, he's an accomplished composer. Like, and if you look at his music, it's like, he's a great talented music composer. He was supposed to do like the music, but then he dropped. It's like I'm busy. They brought Danny Cannon went to bring his friend David Arnold to do the score, but Disney fired him because like, man, he's too close. Then they brought in Alan Silvestri, the guy who did Back to the Future, to do this music.
And I would say also the Predator.
Yes,
that
Predator. He did Predator, the first two.
And I would say the music is awesome in this one. When the theme song hits, it hits really hard.
They even play when he does like the pose and there's the cup.
Yes.
He gave a theme song for the cup also.
let's just say it like that. I was watching Dredd afterward today, and I was missing this one. This whole like Dredd theme. I was missing it badly throughout.
You want to see Carl Urban with the cup?
I am the law.
Ding. And if they're selling that cup on eBay, we want us to buy it for you for collection.
Please no.
Do you know what'd be funny if Mark listens to this part? I know what I'll get for Andy for his birthday.
Yeah, if I get Secret Santa, I'm fucked. I'm definitely getting.
Yeah. So that was Judge Dredd. So.
Yes. Can I quickly jump in because I've got to disappear in a second. Yeah. So I'll leave the camera on so you haven't got to mess with your settings. Yeah. But just say Yaz, well done for rushing through the plot. That was impressive. I'm not going to lie, that was affecting. So its movie it's not redeemable. It is rotten, but it's a good kind of rotten. This is a bad movie, but it's a fun watch.
We introduced something called Low Redemption with is it Low Redemption, Kai?
We call it Low Redemption.
It's something like middle redemption. It's basically you're in the middle of the review or you don't know if you.
Yeah, you mentioned something on the last one. But I'm not really sure of.
Basically, if you're in the middle of the road, you don't know if it's good or bad, so you give it low redemption.
Yeah.
I don't know because I think this is more like I was thinking more the Nick Scarpino, the bad good, where it is definitely a bad movie and deserves its 22 whatever scar, but it's still a fun time. You know, it's like I was worried about watching this. Unfortunately, the whole time I was like, I really wish we were watching the Carl Urban one, and that's sort of a modern day problem of like there is a much better version of this out there. But like, I actually enjoyed this. It was an hour and a half. It was fun. It sort of flew by, and I didn't hate it, which is for these movies that we watch is impressive.
And before you go, do you want to tell people where to find it? Because before you can see on social media.
I probably couldn't. You don't want to find me. Just no. It's not worth it. I've Andy Mack on places. You'll find me on Twitter, Twitch.
I'll post that Twitter and Twitch link to your account.
It'll be in his comments. It'll be down below. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quickly just I'll leave the camera up so you haven't got to fuck with the settings, and I'll put my stand in. There's me in here instead.
Yeah, it's a sexy stand-in body double. You know, like there's a body double. That's the sexy body double of him.
Yes. But as always, thank you for having me, guys. I love you both. This was fun. Hope I can do it again and we can have a bit more time.
Okay. How about you, Kai? What did you thought of this film?
First of all, I have to mention that actually he's having a very interesting chair right now with the cyberpunk on it, because when I was watching this entire movie, I was thinking like this would be very good as a mod version for Cyberpunk, and I was really like, because I mean like the Night City and Mega City 1 are basically like the same. You really like have also some other influences over there, so basically you could transfer this whole thing over there, but. Coming back to the movie, I would say I'm really also in Andy's camp over there. It's let's just say it like that. When I was watching it on Friday, late at night.
Also, we should mention you were watching the bad quality DVD.
Yes, I was watching the really bad quality DVD from like the late 90s, and also in German. That was also the second thing, because. For some reason, it doesn't have like.
If I'm not mistaken, what's his name? The actor plays Judge, the bad guy.
Jürgen Prochnow.
Yeah, he's I think Stallone's German dub actor.
Not entirely correct. So the correct the usual German voice of Sly Stallone used to be Thomas Dannenberg, who also was like the main actor who spoke also Arnold Schwarzenegger. So basically, whenever you had a situation later on with the Expendables, you had him speaking both roles.
Yes.
Which was a very, very fun way, I think for the escape plan. They changed the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. But Thomas Dannenberg actually quit in 2018.
Yes.
because he's over 80 now,
Yes.
and he had also like health issues and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So Jürgen Prochnow now became the new voice, or basically during the original, like way back in the 70s and early 80s movies, I think Jürgen Prochnow also like has been the voice there as well. But over most of the 80s up until like the late 2010 movies, before Creed 2, I think, Thomas Danneberg used to be the voice. But right now it's correct that Jürgen Prochnow has become again the German voice for Sylvester Stallone. So that is correct there. But I was sleeping during the first thing, like throughout the second act of the movie. So I missed some of the stuff, so I had to rewatch it again today, to some degree, and I also watched Dredd afterwards. I would have to say it did have too much of an influence, too much of like too many storylines in one of those things, and I think late in the underlying tones that the movie has, those unanswered questions that he has at some point, like do those laws that I've tried to follow like to the word actually mean something, or can they be interpreted to some other degree, or can they be rewritten to some degree? I think they would have been more fleshed out in a second movie, or would have been very interesting to have been fleshed out more to some degree. But I mean, it was a action movie in the 90s, so they didn't really dive well into those issues. They just went from one story point to the next story point and the next story point, and I think they did a decent job. It surprisingly well, even for like mid 90s standards, it was actually quite the special effects are still holding up to some degree. It sometimes it's garbage, but sometimes
The flying
it's
scene with the
okay.
jetpack thingy. It was,
You're seeing like the early stages of CGI there.
yeah.
Like the lens flare effects that they have there, and the city itself, but they are actually quite well, and compared to other scenarios, I felt actually reminded to the scenes in Star Wars Attack of the Clones, actually, to some degree, when they're on Coruscant and doing those flyby scenes throughout the city, which are actually a little bit more CG based back in the day, but I think this one was a little bit more real and a little bit more interesting to some degree. But whereas with Jedi's, you basically know that they survive everything.
Yeah.
And here it really felt like more action, and I actually liked it.
Yeah.
I wasn't really like that much of a annoyed of a film.
Especially when
Of
consider
course,
the super movies that were coming out in the 90s, Batman, Robin, Spawn, etc.
that's the thing compared to those other schlocky things. I think this one is actually standing out a little bit, and
No
I
nipples,
think
except we got a couple.
no nipples, but you have like cock holders.
Yeah.
Um,
Was handy when you need them.
that look. I mean, you have seen some of those drawings that
Yes,
I
I
sent you
saw it.
over
Why
the
do you think
chat.
I had to fix the camera?
Yeah. But I mean, let's just say it like that. The crotch section was very sophisticated in those drawings. Very diamond, like secluded things. So whenever you're getting hit in those kinds of regions, I think the other guy doing the kicking gets, I think, more damage on his foot than like in reverse, like the area that he's trying to hit. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah.
Um,
So how would you score the film?
I mean, if we have I think it's a redeemable movie to some degree. I think we used to. I mean, if we are in a binary case, if you have either rotten or redemption, I think.
I mean, if I had to score a movie on Rotten Tomato, it would be a rotten. But for me, but if I had to say enjoyable, it's a little bit a low redemption for me, redeemable for me. If it's a movie, I have to give it like a rotten score. But as enjoyment stuff, I give it like a low redemption.
Yeah, it would have a low redemption score.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also in Andy's camp to say that that's a good bad movie.
Yes.
And
I wonder what Scarpino thinks of this film. That's a question.
I think he would be also going for a good bad.
I think he might hate it. I think I can see him going in the middle of the road, either good or he hate it. I think because of Rob Schneider, it might be the reason why Rob Schneider's.
Rob Schneider is basically drawing something down. But the thing is, if you would cut out Rob Schneider, and if you would rename Judge Dredd to
The Law,
I don't know, some other guy
Captain
who
Law.
is basically some kind of police agent in a nearby future city scenario. It could be like what I mentioned earlier. It could be like a Demolition Man 2. I mean, if you have like the whole production also behind you, then why not go for a sequel for that? I mean, they wouldn't really have to have lots of changes there. But yeah, overall, I of course you could say that the mega city is a little bit too futuristic compared to like what they had in Demolition Man. But overall, like the scenario is similar, and I think this would have been a better Demolition Man sequel than a pure Judge Dredd kind of thing. But I think we are also watching it a little bit with Dredd in mind, which is a better movie.
Yeah, especially because I know people say it's a good, but a lot of people are enjoying the Dredd because they think of the one how this one's like is compared to this. And also, I think Dredd, part of the reason is it didn't do well because it came out I think the same time as The Raid, and that people will compare it to. And I do hope they do like they were saying they might do a sequel as a TV show, but I haven't heard any update about it.
Yeah, I was also watching throughout this thing. I mean, Carl Urban was also kind of spoken to whether he could voice Judge Dredd again.
I mean,
they were also thinking about like doing
a deal right now. They say that the actors can appear in multiple TV shows than one. I mean, if Amazon decide like they want to make a Judge Dredd TV show, maybe they can have him come back.
That's the thing. I mean, right now the question would be more also, like who has the rights to this franchise anymore? Like the movie rights to this one. Because again, it was very difficult to get those DVDs in the first place. And if you're having a similar situation for those things that those movie rights are hanging up in the air somewhere within a defunct company.
Like you mentioned, Amazon needs also, because I think The Boys, the first one might end up maybe a season or two. They might finish the show because it sounds like they might, because I feel like they might run for me for 4 or 5 seasons. But if they ended, they need maybe a replacement show. It's like, get this one, the Judge Dredd, make this a TV. It'll be good marketing for you. You can have Carl Urban come back. I mean, he's not that old to play the role. Maybe see.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's a good age, he's good health, and Alex Garland, we don't know if he's busy or not, but you can have him come back and show on the show, may finish his story.
Other question would be, would you get Rob Schneider back for this?
Hell no. Isn't he also an anti-vaxxer, etc.?
Jesus, fuck! No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he's anti-vaccine.
Fuck!
Him, well, I don't know. I think Val Kilmer used to. I think now he's not.
I mean, it depends. I mean, there are 2 different versions. I mean, theoretically, you could say that you are not really like for vaccines. I mean, there are some situations where you could end up in a discussion where you can say, well, maybe for health reasons, it might be depending on your own personal health history and stuff like that. Okay, I understand that. That's perfectly fine. But there's a whole different scenario if you are comparing it to, I don't know, like Gina Carano did, and this is a whole different kind of area. And if they're not going into that direction, I think there's something in between where you could land and still come out like okay. But once you've gone up on the deep end and compare it to like, let's just say it like things that Germans did 80 years ago, that's not a good comparison at that point. So if you're not going into that direction, I think you still have some kind of redemption, or else you're rotten.
Yeah.
But that's another issue.
Yeah. So like I said, I told you before, for me, it's like, I admit, it's not a great film, and if I had to score it, and like, for the film overall, I might give it like maybe a negative review score, basically. I might give it a 5 out of 10 if I had to review it, maybe. So this is going to be a rotten score, or maybe on Rotten Tomato, but as an enjoyment film, I feel like it was a little bit redeemable, minus the Rob Schneider parts. So I think I might give it a low redemption if I had to score this film, just because of enjoyment, but if I had to review the whole movie overall, I might give it an unredeemable score.
Okay.
But like I mentioned,
so you would give it a 5.
Yes, if I had to score it as a movie.
Yeah, I would.
Because I have enjoyed films that's like, man, if I had to review it, I have to give it a low score.
Yeah, because I'm right
That's
now
the same
thinking
score
about...
I would give Street Fighter. If I had to review, I would give it the same score.
I would rank this one higher than Street Fighter, actually. Because at that point I had much more fun here than with Street Fighter.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this, if I hadn't seen Dredd 2012, I would have given it at least a 6.
Yeah, okay, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's basically like you're having also like, I mean, theoretically you would have to think about what you would have to have as a comparison in 1995.
Dredd, I have to give it a 6 then. If I removed it, then I have to give it a 6.
I mean, theoretically, you would have to think about what if you would be going into a cinema in 1995.
Okay.
And at that point, my direct comparison in my brain was Jurassic Park in 1994 and Star Trek Generations in 1995. So, and if
That's
I
the one
would
with
be
Shatner
having...
and Stewart, right?
Yes, Shatner and Stewart, yeah.
Is this the one where they killed him and then...
Yes.
Did they bring him back?
Not canonically.
Oh.
Let's just say it like that. There are books that supposedly ghost written for William Shatner and were
non-canon?
Yeah, it's not canon. I mean, most of the books are
non-canon. Is it true that the fans were upset when this thing happened?
To some degree. Okay, Andy just left us. Is it still okay with your...
No, I'm just fixed because people are watching, their cameras a little bit looks bad.
Okay.
Let's go ahead, talk. Go ahead, talk. I'll fix
Okay. I think at that point, some Trekkies were a little bit sad about like seeing William Shatner, but I think also like how he went. I think that's a little bit sad because some of those things you would have to think about, because why is Patrick Stewart or Captain Picard jumping just like 10 minutes before the world-ending event? He could have like transferred back like a week ago and everything would have been fine. Why does he take out James Kirk, and why does Kirk end up downwards a bridge? And yeah. I mean, they even had a different ending for that one. I mean, they in the original version they shot him in the back, and it was worse than what ended up in the movie. But yeah.
So,
but as a direct comparison, I think Generations was better than this one. And
So I have not seen
I think-
Generation. I've seen First Contact because I heard you say that out of all the Next Generation films, this is the best.
yeah, First Contact is the best Next Generation movie.
Yeah.
By far.
How would you
And,
rank the Next Generation films?
First Contact, and then it's a little bit difficult for me. I could say Generations, Insurrection, Nemesis, but the latter three are always like some have good moments, some have good actions, but some don't work as a movie, some don't work as a Star Trek film, and stuff like that. So most of them are more better TV episodes than movies.
I mean, the first three generations are directed by TV directors who direct episodes of Star Trek.
First Contact and Insurrection were directed by Jonathan Frakes himself.
And David Carson was Generation, right?
David Carson was Generations, which was one of the TV direct
You got,
lots
yeah. By the way, you're lacking a little bit.
of episodes for the shows. The back of the movie. Okay.
Okay. And now I think.
Yeah, I was saying like the Nemesis movie was directed by Stuart Baird.
Yeah. I think that's the last film he directed. He's a film editor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's basically an editor, and I think
do U.S. Marshal, but I think I actually did like this film. It's a sequel to The Fugitive. It's not as good as The Fugitive. It's a fun film to watch.
The thing is, he is a very good action editor. Yeah. I think he did like the original Die Hard movies, Lethal Weapon,
I think he also did
stuff like that.
Skyfall, if I'm not mistaken. Some of the Bond films.
Yeah, but as an editor and not as a director. And I think this is one of the
That was a complaint I heard about Nemesis. That they brought in a non-tricky to do the film.
Yeah, that's basically he didn't have any like connection to any of the actors, to any of the characters, and he thought, for example, that Geordie LaForge, played by LeVar Burton, was an alien just because of like his eyes, which he's not, and lots of other stuff. And I think the main issue there is you would have a writer who's putting in lots of details about lore and
continuity. I would say the same thing we're happening right now with buffering. We apologize to people who are watching or listening. If guy's coming back. I think he froze this guy, so I'm gonna see if I can end the show now, because we will see if I can talk about it. One day we'll talk about the Star Trek, films, maybe, because I already have some of them on the podcast. So thanks guys for joining us for today's episode. It's also running for too long, and I hope we see you guys. So Kai, I think I'm gonna post his social media links account, on down the description. You can find me at the MrYazMan300, and on Twitter. For some reason they decided to remove my Twitter site to suspend my old account. Yes, 300 Pro and on all the other social media account for the podcast list. And there's one final housekeeping. Subscribe to my YouTube steps. I've been reached 1 million subscribers. Andy, Joe, and I, and others can review the Adventures of Achela. So he's still frozen. So we're gonna end the stream right now. So I hope I see you guys on the next episode, guys. Bye.